Reports are coming out from NFL insiders that the Giants are going to fire Mike Kafka and Wink Martindale following the season. We're going to dive into those quotes. Also, there's been a lot of talk on New York radio as well as on New York Giants Twitter that maybe Big Blue could trade for Josh Allen. We're going to break that down. But first, make sure you hit that thumbs up icon and let's dive into it. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. We got a lot to touch on in today's video, and we're going to start with the hottest story right now circulating around the New York Football Giants. A report came out that the Giants are not expected to retain Mike Kafka as well as Wink Martindale. The report stated that the Giants people have told this NFL insider that are connected to Mike Kafka that he will not be back as the offensive coordinator, and the same could be said for Wink Martindale. And I do know this, if the Giants come out with any more news, rumors, or updates on their coaching staff, we are going to make a video as soon as possible. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports for free Giants content every single day. Tony Pauline was the reporter of Sportskeeda, used to work for the Pro Football Network. He was the one that had the scoop and said this: after firing Joe Judge in 2021, CEO and team president John Mara said he was looking for continuity in the front office and head coaching positions. Firing general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll in year 2 goes against that strategy, especially considering the team made the playoffs in 2022, as previously mentioned. What is expected is the release of assistant coaches and the coordinators. Few expect defensive coordinator Wink Martindale or offensive coordinator Mike Kafka to be retained. People from Kafka's team confide in me that they don't expect the former college quarterback to survive. Look, this is just a report for now. This is not a fact. This is not news. Neither Kafka or Martindale have been fired. But this is going to start to heat up that conversation. And a lot of people have been focused on firing Joe Schoen, and this is going to be focusing on firing Brian Daboll. The report said they're not going to do that. But it does sound like, according to the report, that the Giants are going to move on from Wink Martindale and Mike Kafka. And I'm not going to be shocked if the Giants do move on from Mike Kafka, because let's call a spade a spade. The Giants' offense has not been bad this year. They have been historically bad. This is one of the worst offenses in the history, not of the New York Giants, in the National Football League. What they are doing on offense is unprecedented. It is historic. They were outgained by more than 500 yards, or around 500 yards, by the Dallas Cowboys last week. The most yardage difference between two teams in a game in 44 years. They averaged just 11.8 points per game. It's the worst in the NFL. Just 288 yards of total offense. The worst in the NFL. They have the worst passing offense in the NFL. Top half of the league in rushing, though, so that's got to mean something. And also on third down, they are the second worst team in the NFL. When you talk about points per game scored, in the landscape of the National Football League, the Giants are the 5th worst offense when it comes to points per game since the 2000s. That is how bad this offense is right now. And if you take away the second half against the Arizona Cardinals, the Giants would be averaging just 9.7 points per game, which would rank 3rd worst all time. This offense stinks, and it falls on the shoulders of the players as well as Mike Kafka. They are absolutely terrible right now. I do want to talk about this just real quick before we bounce on to Wink Martindale. If you fire Mike Kafka, the question is going to be, who are you going to hire? Well, Ken Dorsey, former offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, who was relieved of his duties just earlier this week, was the offensive coordinator that Brian Daboll wanted to hire last year, or I guess 2 years ago at this point, when he took over as the head coach for the Giants. Brian Daboll wanted to hire Ken Dorsey. Now he doesn't have a job. It seems like a seamless transition to fire Mike Kafka and go get the guy that you wanted to hire prior to the 2022 season. Enough of the offense. I don't want to talk about that anymore. I'm not so sure I would fire Wink Martindale. Well, I do feel like the game has passed him by a little bit. Wink has shown he could still be a good DC in this league. He's had a couple of good games. He played had the defense playing really well against Washington, who has a quarterback earlier this year that is number 1 in passing yards in the NFL. Had some other good games. But at the end of the day, when you look at the stats in totality, it doesn't look so good for Wink Martindale. They have the 29th ranked scoring offense, the 27th ranked when it comes to yards allowed, the 21st ranked pass defense, and they allow 131 yards on the ground. My question is, what is the identity of the New York Giants defense? Wink Martindale has coached against the Cowboys 4 times in his coaching career as a Giants DC against the Dallas Cowboys. Molding up a 0 because he has not sacked Dak Prescott 1 time in the last 2 years. You talk about Wink Martindale, he wants to blitz, he wants to create chaos, he wants to have unique fronts, he wants to attack the quarterbacks and have leverage on his defensive line and make the quarterback's life hell. He's not able to do that with the Giants. I don't know if it's a lack of talent. I don't know if it's the schemes. I don't know what it is. But it does not look so good for Wink, and I'm not going to be shocked if either and or both are potentially fired. If the Giants do fire Wink Martindale, I would keep my eyes on Leslie Frazier, the former defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. He was the DC for the Bills, while Brian Daboll was the OC for the Bills. There's obviously a relationship there, and if I remember correctly, I didn't think about this before the show, it just came to my mind, so I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure Leslie Frazier was interviewed to be the Giants head coach before they hired Brian Daboll by Joe Schoen, so there's at least some liking of him by Joe Schoen. I mean, Joe was the assistant general manager of the Bills when Frazier was the DC of Buffalo. So I want to ask this question before we talk about Josh Allen. What should the Giants do, man? What should they do? Should they fire Kafka, type K? Should they fire Wink, type W? Or do they just clean house at the coordinator position and start all over? Type B for fire both. Let me know what you think. Coming up next, Tiki Barber has been talking about it. Lawrence Tynes has been talking about it. It's been the hot topic on Twitter as well as New York radio. Should the New York Giants trade for Josh Allen? My thing on this would be you can only trade for a player if the other team wants to trade for him. And I'm not so sure that the Buffalo Bills are going to want to trade Josh Allen. We'll get into that in a second. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Marine Layer. If you go to marinelayer.com/chatsports, you're going to get 15% off your order. This link will be clickable down in the comments and description. It's official. I found my new favorite clothing brand. Their stuff is so soft, it's absurd, and it makes for the perfect gift, all thanks to San Francisco-based brand Marine Layer. To spread holiday cheer, our listeners get a 15% off discount with our exclusive link. Just head to marinelayer.com/chatsports. I've got this sports polo, I've got a plain navy blue t-shirt, and I have a blue hoodie. And I love all of the clothing items that I have from Marine Layer. My favorite thing about them is no matter how many times I throw them in the wash, they still come out as soft as just like when I ripped them out of the package. Right now, I'm rocking a respun sport polo in navy warm stripe. I can wear this to work. I can wear this out to the bar with the homies. And let's say I want to go straight to work out after work. I can wear this as well. The diversity of the clothing is also something that makes them one of my favorite brands. And I think we can all admit that great gifts during the holiday season can be hard to find. So look no further than Marine Layer. For a limited time, Giants Now listeners get 15% off at marinelayer.com/chatsports. That's marinelayer.com/chatsports for 15% off your entire order, saving your closet one shirt at a time. That link is clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. Alrighty, let's be honest. This is a kind of a wacky idea. But look, if they're going to talk about it on New York sports radio, if Tiki Barber's going to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. And Giants legendary kicker Lawrence Tynes tweeted out about the Giants kind of maybe for entertainment purposes only trading for Josh Allen. He said, would you trade Daniel Jones and 2 first-round picks to Buffalo for Josh Allen so he could reunite with Brian Daboll? That would be hard to pass up for the Bills, excuse me, with this QB class. I want to focus on that last part. That would be hard to pass up for the Bills with this QB draft class. I know Josh Allen may have thrown a lot of interceptions this year. I know he's lost a couple of games he shouldn't have. Josh Allen is still without a doubt a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. And whether you draft Drake May or whether you draft Caleb Williams, you're going to bed praying every single night that he can become what Josh Allen is. So no, I don't agree that it would be hard to pass up for the Bills. I do know this. Brian Daboll and Josh Allen absolutely love each other. Jiminy Christmas, when the Giants played the Bills earlier this year, you would have thought Brian Daboll used to live with this guy the way that he talked about him. Listen to this. Back when the Giants played the Bills earlier this year, Josh Allen is an unbelievable player, one of the best in the league. You can put him in probably any offense and he's going to produce. I like that sentence right there. You can put him in probably any offense and he's going to produce. And wonder what he meant by that. You know, I missed him as a person. We are close, but as a player, he's a heck of a player. Put on any tape, he's exceptional at everything. He can run, but he can throw it. And he can throw it wherever he needs to throw it. 80 yards down the field, drop a dime on the move to the right, put it back across his body, scramble back up, scramble around, throw it out, throw it on time. He's a special player. He's one of the best in the league. And he makes you better as a play caller, too. So he's one of a kind. Lord, oh Lord, man, they really like each other. I've never heard Brian Daboll talk about Daniel Jones in that type of tone ever in my life. They are a match made in heaven, though. If you were to have Brian Daboll go into a lab and create a quarterback, he's creating Josh Allen. You see the success that he had with Brian Daboll. In 2020, the guy threw for almost 4,600 yards, 37 touchdowns, and just 10 picks. Then the next year, he threw for another 4,400 yards and 36 touchdowns, 15 picks. He is the only quarterback in the National Football League, though, to throw 10 or more picks in each of the last 4 seasons. But look, we're talking about Josh Allen having a bad year, and he's completing 70% of his passes, on pace for over 4,000 yards, on pace to get about 30 touchdowns. I know the INTs are hard, and you know what? That's kind of what you get when you have Josh Allen. He's a scrambler, he's a gutsy player, and he is a guy that some people would call a gunslinger. You live and die by that. Too many interceptions, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, he's still a top 5 QB in this league. This was Lawrence Tynes' trade idea. You trade Daniel Jones, a first-round pick this year, which is going to be, what? Pick number 2, pick number 1, pick number 3, and then a first-round pick in 2025. I'll ask you, would you do this trade? If you were Joe Schoen and Brandon Beane called you, general manager of the Bills, and said, yo, Joey, let's do it, what would you say? Type A for accept, type D for decline. First off, this isn't even close to enough of what it would cost to trade for Josh Allen. I don't understand why people say some of the stuff they do on the internet like Lawrence Tynes. No disrespect. I love what you do. I love how you cover the Giants and you still tuned in and plugged in with the franchise. And thank you for all the kicks that you made sending the Giants to the Super Bowl twice. But we have already known what it takes to get a franchise quarterback. Look at what the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. 3 first-round picks, a 4th-round pick, a 3rd-round pick. Okay, 3 first-round picks, a 3rd-round pick, and 2 4th-round picks. And then you get a 6th-round pick back. Josh Allen is 10 times better of a quarterback than what Deshaun Watson was at the peak of his powers with the Houston Texans. But for the Giants, all they're going to have to give up is 2 first-round picks. Come on, man. This isn't happening. This is not happening. The Buffalo Bills are not trading Josh Allen. So we can stop talking about it because I'm not going to talk about it on this show anymore. I understand Tiki's talking about it on WFAN. I understand Lawrence Tynes is talking about it. But let's take a little humble, truth juice right here. This is never happening. So let's stop talking about it. As always, you can give me a follow over on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. I'm tweeting about the Giants all day, every day. So go give me a follow over there, and let's go G-Men.